Hello and welcome to another video regarding file structures. Earlier in the semester you should have looked at the video that was responsible for using FTP and being able to get in and out of the system, or at least the folders that you will be using for this class on my web server. Now what we're going to do is talk about how those files are actually organized, because there's been a little bit of confusion on how all of that should be done. And the outcome has been that many of you, your web pages aren't quite working. So let's go ahead and pop down into Start. I'll pick on Computer. At this point, if you want to, you can type in FTP:, /2/, and then that FTP access information that I gave you. Or if you jumped ahead of the game or did a little research, you will find that there's a way in which you can create a permanent folder that takes you immediately to that spot. And the way that that is accomplished is by right-clicking here, come down to Add a Network Location, and this pops you into the wizard. Pick Next, and then choosing a custom network location, pick Next, and in here you'll go ahead and type in your FTP information, which of course it's going to ask for your username and password. I'm not going to do all that because I've already created the folder. But what I am going to do is I'm going to get into that FTP location. The thing that's challenging, I guess, for some people with respect to Windows is the fact that when I do eventually get into this location, it looks as though I'm looking at a folder that's directly on my computer. And the fact of the matter is I'm not. I'm not at all. I'm actually hooked onto a server that is out there in the iCloud somewhere. I have no idea, or the internet somewhere. I have no idea where that server is actually sitting. Nor do I even care, actually. I only care that I have access to it. Okay? You'll notice, though, when I open up the folder, it looks exactly like a regular Windows folder, and it has the same functionality. For example, I can grab index, pull it off, and you can see it's now made a copy of index on my desktop. I can grab it and put it back, and it's going to say the same thing that always happens when we copy files, and that is, if one exists, shall we overwrite it? And I can just say yes, sure, we'll let it overwrite it, because I don't really care, because it's exactly the same copy. Right click here, delete, send it off to the recycle bin, and we're good to go. Some of you probably have noticed that there are two additional files that are showing up in this list with which you may not be familiar. This file here, the quota file, is responsible for making it possible for you to be able to upload your files under Unix. Okay, it sets up file permissions, I believe, and certainly limits the amount of space that you have. If that file goes away, if you decide to delete that file, you're going to have a profound impact, a negative impact, on your ability to do your editing on this site. Okay, so we want to leave that file alone. DC store. This particular file is created automatically by the Unix operating system whenever a Windows box is trying to access that particular area. That is, I'm doing all my web pages on an Apple. Okay, when I'm done and I upload those pages, all of the file names and such, they include an additional file called DC store, which has additional information regarding each of these folders and the names of these files, so that Windows will be able to access them. Don't delete this thing, because if you do, you could possibly put yourself in a world of hurt. Okay? So, we're going to put together ourselves a website. That's the big plan. We're not really sure how we want to organize our files and all that kind of stuff, but we are sure that we would like at least to have a home page. Now, what some people will do is they'll just say, well, I'm not sure what to call this thing, so I'll just call it home page for now. Okay? And they go ahead and they put it together, and yeah, I'm really excited. I've made a cascading style sheet. I've got an images folder that's holding images. I'm excited. Okay? So then you jump into your browser and you head on over to that site. Okay, in which case I'll just do it this way. Go to Solutions, and the reason we're seeing something right now is because I've been looking at the site earlier and the page was cached. Caching a page basically means I kept a copy of it here under the name index.html. But if I refresh it, you'll see now it's coming back, error, file not found. And the typical response is, dude, I created the thing. Why is it not working? Well, the reason that it's not working is if I don't include the words homepage.html when I am putting in my address, it's not going to know where to go. Okay, so here I'll just go HOME, there's my HTML's already there, and looky there, it all popped in there. We're gloriously happy, life is good, but who really wants to be typing in all of that extra information if we don't really have to? And a way of making it so that we don't really have to is if we just click in here, rename that to index, that page now will automatically load. Behold, we'll come back here, we'll get rid of the actual file name, and we're only going to go simply to the directory called solutions. Hit enter, and as you can see, essentially there was no change. Well, that's a good thing because we didn't get the 404 error. Just so that you know, I have set up these web pages so that the area inside here is basically what I'm looking for. This stuff over here is the code that I used to create this page over here. So you can look at the HTML or the external JavaScript or the style sheet that I used to create all of this, okay? It makes it a little bit easier for you guys to work through the solutions to these assignments. But you'll notice my home page is done. I don't have any links set up other than this link, which is basically an alert that says the index page is the first assignment, okay? And reloads the index page. That's what this little pound symbol means. Hey, I'm reloading to myself, okay? So I'm pretty happy about that. Excited. I wrote myself a couple of notes about heading levels or whatever for your sake, so you can see what I mean by themes, okay? And now I'm ready to start working on the next assignment. Okay, let's go ahead and minimize this. The key to working on the next assignment is to simply create a folder to hold it, and I created a folder called A2. Okay, and within that folder you may choose once again to use an assignment name ASSN_2, such as may have been suggested in the resource materials that I have in the syllabus, the online syllabus. Okay, but you've created your web page and you're really happy with the way that it runs. The key is that this web page right here should be able to stand on its own. That means that without going to the main home index, I should be able to go into the subdirectory A2, type in assign_2.html, and get a web page that looks right. So I'll do that. I'll come over here, there's solutions. I'm going to type in A2/ASSN_2.html and hit enter, and there it is. It brought up the assignment. It stands on its own. It is a very happy assignment. Okay? Well, once again though, I kind of would like it so that they don't have to type in, or my user of my website doesn't have to type in assignment_2.html. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this file so that it reads index.html. And what's really cool about that, of course, is if I come back here and I no longer use a file name, where I just simply go straight to the directory and hit enter, you'll see there was no change. And the reason that there was no change is because, come on baby dog, I just resized this thing to big huge ugliness. Okay, the reason there was no change is because of course it reloaded the page, and it's a happy reload. Okay, so in short, when you want to put something together, okay, I don't want to close that just yet. When you want to put something together, you want to make sure that you begin first of all by creating your home index page. Any additional pages that you want to make, probably a good idea to pop them into a folder and make sure that they stand alone. No doubt some of you guys are asking the questions, well, Dave, what's the point of the main index page? The point of the main index page is that here in this particular file there will be a list of links that I will eventually activate that simply point to those subdirectories. Hopefully that makes sense. So how do I get it to point to the subdirectory? Well, it's the good old A tag with an H reference, right? We go ahead and use the A tag with an H reference, and within the H reference you just simply have to type in A2. That's it. Let's go ahead and actually I haven't done that here just yet. Wonder what would happen if I got source code over here, right? So let's go over down here and let's have a look at, there's all of that stuff. There's my table. Here we go. Here's assignment 2. Okay. Right now it just says assignment 2. So here what I can do in this particular spot, I can put in the A tag beforehand, do an href to simply A2. That's it. href quote A2, and it will be happy. It will work like a champ. It'll do all the things that it's supposed to do. Okay. You should by now know how to do href, so I'm not going to go through a lot of discussion on how to make that happen. Now we've made the link though from here, from this link right here to the next page, to A2. Okay. Once we've done that, we can now go into index.html, okay, for that link. We'll go A2. Okay, in my case, I created a little home button that you can just pick, which will take you right straight back to the other spot once it's activated, okay? And there it goes. You see it went right back to the spot. See? Here's where I was. I clicked on here, and it took me right back to where I wanted to be. So let's go back, and let's have a look at this code, okay? Come over here. Come down here and let's see if we can find that image. Hey, look at that. Here's the image right here. Images, home. It's a ping file that I created. And there's my A tag. H-reference, go back 2 spots. Go up 1 directory, go to the index, and we're good to go. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully it wasn't too confusing for you. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and contact me.